Hello again, everybody. It's Mr. Scott, your favorite middle-aged metalhead. Welcome to another edition of Metal 40 Plus, the series where we take a look and celebrate metal albums that turn 40 years old in the year 2024. Essentially, metal albums that become middle-aged. And on this episode, we're taking a look at The Last in Line from Ronnie James Dio. We're going to look at the album, the songs on the album, and the band in context of the time the album came out. And while we talk about that stuff, we're also going to be checking out the title track from this album too here today. This is episode 4 of this series. We've already looked at Ride the Lightning from Metallica, Love at First Sting from the Scorpions, and Power Slave from Iron Maiden. All those are available on a playlist here at this channel. And hey, I'm going to break some kayfabe. Coming up in May as the next episode, Defenders of the Faith from Judas Priest. But don't tell anybody. It's just our secret. And this is also the time where we have to remind the metal gatekeepers out there that you're not welcome here. So thanks for the clicks, but you can just head on back to wherever you want to go. It's fine. It's okay. Take care now. Bye-bye then. Now that they're out of here, we're going to get into the song. The link to this song I'm checking out today will be down in the description, along with all other kinds of information about me, links to all my social networks, my TeePublic merch store, my Twitch account, and find out how you can join up at this channel and help support your favorite middle-aged metalhead. So let's get into the song, The Last in Line, and we'll take breaks in between to give you some insight into the album and the songs and so forth. So, are you ready to take a trip down south? Way south? Thrill me. Kind of a mellow way to start it out. Just your average young man, delivering packages. Little courier service in the 80s. Still happens to this day. Wait, who's that? Okay, horns up to you too, my friend. And just gonna hit floor 9. Wait a minute. What's going on? Uh-oh. I do love the bass line to this song. Somebody got some answers for me? I mean, what is going on here? Whoa! Come with me. So he's in hell. For what reason? He was just doing his job. And there is the man. We'll get back to it in a minute, but this is just, it's an interesting concept to see this video, but you really have to figure out what that kid do. He's just doing his job. He's just making a delivery to the 9th floor. I mean, people do it all the time. Is that really worth a trip to hell? Freaking 80s. What are you going to do? All right, so as I'm getting silly here, sorry. You know what time it is. It's that time of year. It's that time of your life where the cheaters have to come in sometimes. So sorry about that. So let's talk about this album. This is the sophomore release from Ronnie James Dio's solo project. Before this, Dio was known as the frontman for such great world-renowned acts as Rainbow and, of course, Black Sabbath. And to be the man that replaced Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath was no easy task. It was no small feat. But Dio was able to carve his own niche and really step out as his own man as a part of Black Sabbath, and became a whole new era for that group. And to this day, people still debate who was the better frontman, Ozzy or Dio. So he definitely has a lot of respect in that respect. But after some time in Dio, he broke away in 1982, I believe, and he started putting together his own group, and they released their debut album, Holy Diver, in 1983, another metal classic. And this one, his second release, The Last in Line, was released on July 2nd, 1984. It was recorded at the Caribou Ranch in Colorado and released on Warner Brother Records. Dio was not only the lead vocalist for this group, and also wrote a lot of the material, he also was the man who produced the entire album. So a man of many talents is Ronnie James Dio, and he really showed what he can do because this was probably his most successful album commercially at that time. It peaked at number 4 on the UK charts and peaked at 23 on the US charts, and it was also the first Dio album to be certified platinum. Let's get back into the video here. I think I'll leave the glasses on. Why not?
We are fire, we are stone.
I always love this. You know it's the 80s when playing a video game for eternity is considered a punishment. Because people do that now on Twitch for a living. And I'm not judging, Dio needs to restart the game. Hit it. The same boring game over and over again. It might be Damnation if it's a boring game. And this is all being fed right into their brains. Hey kids, it's Vivian Campbell. We'll take a pause right there. Vivian Campbell right there, ladies and gentlemen, a man who would go on to become the second guitar player for Def Leppard. Still plays and tours with Def Leppard to this very day. Fantastic musician. So now let's talk about the songs off this album. There are 9 tracks to speak of, and just going to give you a quick oversight on each one of them. It starts out with the opener, We Rock. And this is a dynamic opener for the album. Really helps sets the tone. And this song has a very strong new wave of British heavy metal vibe to it. If you heard it for the first time, you might think it was Iron Maiden or Judas Priest or a band of that kind of genre. But yeah, it's straight up powerful track to start out the whole entire album. Then we have this song, The Last in Line. Fantastic. Next up, we have a song called Breathless. It's a little slower, but has a very strong arrangement to it. Then we come up with a song called I Speed at Night. This right here is quintessential 80s metal, and it's a hidden gem in my opinion. Now, if you're familiar with this album, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know this album very well, don't skip over this track if you intend to check it all out. This is one I really think you want to sit down and enjoy, because I think you will. Then we go to a song called One Night in the City. It's got an intense groove. It almost feels like it could be the entrance theme for a professional wrestler, and has great lyrical imagery in the song too. Next up, we have a song called Evil Eyes, and the only way I could describe listening to the song was like an 82 Firebird flying down the Sunset Strip. Just the way my mind works sometimes. Next up, we have a song called Mystery. This one I think could have been a solid radio hit for the album. It has a mid-tempo to it with a fun chord progression, but the chorus is one that is fun to sing along to. So, yeah, there may have been a big missed opportunity with that song not getting a lot of airplay. Then we go to a song called Eat Your Heart Out. It's kind of, honestly, I gotta say, it's kind of a lesser interesting track. It's good overall, but doesn't really have anything to it that stands out in my opinion. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's kind of there. And then we round out the album with the song called Egypt, The Chains Are On. This uses various instruments and melodies to create this Egyptian mood to it, obviously, since the song is called Egypt. It's slow, but it's a powerful track and a great way to kind of end the entire journey of the album. It fades out at the end there very slowly, very nicely. So each song really has a standout to it throughout the entire piece. So what do you say we finish up The Last in Line? Hey, get back in line, kid. You're not supposed to see this part. Oh, yeah. And this kid's like, I'm out of here. How is this a punishment? Having to watch Dio all the time. How is that a bad thing? Now, that might be an exception. Yeah, that definitely hurts. I still don't understand why the kid was sent to hell for just doing his job. Hey, wait a minute. Oh, no, he's being choked out. Is that going to do anything? Who can save him but Dio? You know what you got to do, Ronnie. Oh yeah, right in the taint. Run, kid, run. Nice dive. And what does he get for helping the kid? Just going back to where he already was. But thank you, Dio, for saving that young man's life. He will never forget you. Back in the 80s, of course, we had the advent of MTV, something that nobody had thought to do at that time was, putting visuals to a song and creating music videos. And in its early days, it was quite the innovative thing and became a standard in the world of music. And I remember growing up, this came out in 84. I'm just about to turn 9 years old, and we had the big old style RCA VHS recorder. Had wood paneling on it too for some reason. Well, it was the late 70s, early 80s. Of course, it had to have wood paneling. And I remember my sister always having a tape in there ready to go to record videos. I still have those tapes to this day, as a matter of fact. But this is one I remember her taping, and I used to watch this one incessantly because it was a great track and it was an intriguing video. But now you look back at it through a different perception or perspective, I should say, and it's like, yeah, what the hell was going on here? Why did that kid get sent to hell for just doing his job? And Dio was already there. Was he hiding? I don't think he was hiding out. They obviously knew he was there. They showed him on the screen. So he's a fixture down in wherever they're supposed to be, if it's the personification of hell or not. Actually, it just looks like the underground of L.A. to me, but that's just my opinion. Never been there. Don't come at me in the comments. Hey, gatekeepers, not wanted here. Bye-bye. I'm rambling on here. Sorry. Let's look at some final thoughts about the band and the album. Just overall, this was where Dio really got to shine. As being the front man for bands that were already kind of established, per se. He was able to really step out and show the world, this is what I do. And in doing so, he became a forefather for the genre of power metal. Also, operatic style vocals, too, was a big part of his presentation. But overall, I have to say, for the man, not the musician, not the performer, but the man, Ronnie James Dio, he was a true ambassador of heavy metal. I mean, he had an engaging personality to him. He was very humble in his disposition. I've seen many interviews with Dio throughout the years, and he always came off as genuine, never showed any kind of ego or attitude of any kind, was very personable, as I said. Just great one-on-one conversationalist, and somebody you would be intrigued by listening to the way he talked. And for that, he was always, to me, a very strong representative of the entire genre of heavy metal. And it is a shame so much that he is no longer with us. But he was also philanthropic, too, because he created, a year after this album came out, a project called Hearing Aid, which was heavy metal and hard rock's answer to We Are the World, where he assembled all of these musicians from various different heavy bands and put them together to create a song called We're Stars, and did the same thing that We Are the World was doing. It was trying to raise money for the starving in Africa, and that shows you what kind of a man, a human being, Ronnie James Dio was. And of course, we can't deny the fact that he, not Gene Simmons, is the innovator of the horns in heavy metal. And yes, he's gone on record several times. This comes from old style Italian, superstitions. It's the Maloik, and being half Italian myself, I know about that stuff. But this just became synonymous with it, and it is the horn sign that I do on here, and I do that as tribute to all the great musicians in metal, all my brothers and sisters in metal out there around the world, and that's why we do this too. So big thank you to the man, Ronnie James Dio, for this, for that album, and all the great music he's created. So there you have it, the last in line from Ronnie James Dio. What did you guys think? Are you a fan of Dio? If you are, what are some of your favorite songs, favorite albums, favorite things he's done? Put it down there in the comments. Have you ever gotten to see Dio live? Because I never got to. I'd love to hear the story about that too. Put it down in the comments as well. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and don't forget to check out how you can join up with this channel and help support me and my endeavors. I thank you very much for stopping by, my friends. Just like for Dio, keep those horns high and never stop playing.
It's Mr. Scott. Yo, it's Mr. Scott. You know his ass is hot. Yo, it's Mr. Scott. It's Mr. Scott. Yo, it's Mr. Scott. You know his ass is hot. Yo, it's Mr. Scott. It's Mr. Scott.